It's the last 7 days before the November 5 U.S. election. Republican candidate Donald Trump's antics have quote-unquote reached new extremes. CNN calls it wild and lewd. The New York Times and CBS call it vulgar. MSNBC calls it bizarre and lewd. For Filipinos who are watching, this sounds eerily familiar. Rodrigo Duterte, before he was elected into office in 2016, talked about raping a missionary nun. To recap this weekend, Trump in a rally in a battleground state tells the crowd Harris is a vice president, explicitly talks about the anatomy of a golf legend,
but Arnold Palmer was all man,
and insists it's okay to use the military against what he calls the enemy from within. When asked who these are, he pointed to Democratic Representatives Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff. The New York Times says it adds to the impression that he is increasingly unfiltered and undisciplined. That's a nice way of putting it. It's gutter language and conduct unbecoming. Well, at least he hasn't talked about imagining cutting someone's head off. Oops. Hi, I'm Kara Oliver, Rappler's multimedia producer, and to recap the past month, Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz was in a debate with Republican J.D. Vance.
Let's look for a new day where everybody gets that opportunity and everybody gets a chance to thrive.
We need change. We need a new direction.
There's no clear winner, but what struck viewers across the board was how both men were polite, focused on policy, and even agreed with each other. Some say a little too much, but most point to a highlight of the debate.
Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future.
That is a damning non-answer.
And in early October, Republican stalwart Dick Cheney endorsed Harris, while his daughter Liz even hit the campaign trail with the vice president. What are the key issues? Immigration. Trump says he will launch the largest deportation program in American history. Harris' platform on immigration. She says it's broken, but she has a proposal on border security.
As of today, we have cut the flow of immigration by over half. In fact, the numbers I saw most recently, illegal immigration
But if it was that easy with that
finish.
executive action, why not do it in 2022, 2023?
On the economy, the uncertainty of the pandemic is over, and inflation has dropped to a 3-year low. Analysts are calling it a rebound, but economic unhappiness is everywhere. People say they're worse off. On human rights, Harris says she believes Trump is a fascist.
They know Trump won't hold autocrats accountable because he wants to be an autocrat himself.
Trump, on the other hand, says,
we have two enemies. We have the outside enemy, and then we have the enemy from within. And the enemy from within, in my opinion, is more dangerous than China, Russia, and all these countries, because if you have a smart president, he can handle them.
Nearly 25 million voters have cast ballots in early voting. Observers all around say it's the closest U.S. presidential battle in decades. There are many potential outcomes in the 2024 U.S. presidential race. It can be a clear win by one candidate, or a race that can't be read until almost all the votes are in. The past month, the candidates have been furiously campaigning. Both are reaching beyond their party's traditional base. That's because Harris's lead over Trump in the polls have been what CNN calls razor thin. Neither Harris nor Trump has led any of the battleground states by more than 5 points. What does voter registration data say? 52% of all eligible voters are women, which should favor Harris.
The college-educated group of white women is increasing, the non-college is decreasing.
The New York Times Siena College poll shows 70% of black men say they would vote for Harris in November, down from Joe Biden's 85% in 2020. Thus, gender might be the defining issue in this election. Will the women's vote catapult Harris to the White House? Or will the conservative male vote stop her from making history? I'm Kara Oliver. Thank you for watching. Download the Rappler Communities app and let's continue the conversation on the security and global affairs chat room.